Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, we're still not going to the moon.
Also, how Uber's new service gives you the perfect opportunity to annoy your neighbors.
All that and more on the way next. Just in time for the holidays, Liquid Death has invented the perfect gift for that someone you care about, someone you love. The Pit Diaper. The Pit Diaper is made out of pleather. It is able to, it comes with 52 Depend guards that you can just slide into this underwear looking, it looks like leather underwear.
Yep.
And you can now, your problems have been solved. You can go into the pit at a concert and not have to worry about needing to exit to go to one of those stanky bathrooms at wherever metal shows are held, because you know they're always the bathrooms, not necessarily the nicest place in the building.
Yeah.
Not that the building's that nice to begin with.
Right.
And so instead, just get a Liquid Death Pit Diaper. For $75, you're good to go.
$75 and you're good. Yeah. This is not for me. Can I just say? But yeah, I was not expecting to see this at the end of the year as a gift option, I suppose.
It addresses a problem. This isn't one of those things where they make up, you make up a problem and that you have a product and you're like, let's invent a problem that people don't actually have to try to market this thing. This is a problem. Sometimes you go to a concert and you don't want to miss the show, you don't want to lose your spot, and the bathrooms I think they call this the Pit Diaper, and they're showing it at like a metal show.
Yeah.
At a club or something.
Yeah.
I think of this at a music festival.
Right. It's like all day.
Yeah. If you get up near the front, you got to drink a lot of hot water. You got to stay hydrated. But to leave, you're losing your spot. And you're going to the porta potties. And honestly, what's nastier? Standing in your own waste or going to a porta potty? I think it's pretty comparable.
Yeah. I obviously don't want to. There are people that have to use a pen, so I don't want to go against that or say that this is like some type of terrible thing, because it's not.
It's a great product.
It helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is it's wild to me. I'm not gonna lie. Looking at the picture too of it is just like, wow, the design and everything. It really is just a big leather diaper.
To be clear, this is bulky enough. It's meant to be worn as your pants.
Yeah, yeah, it's meant to be worn.
But
because I don't think you could really wear it with something over it.
No, yeah, it's too bulky.
Way too bulky.
But it is cut in a style of briefs.
Yeah.
So it's showing a lot of leg.
Showing a lot.
And it looks like, not only does it look like you could wear it in a mosh pit and would kind of fit in at some certain metal shows, it also, a biker could wear it. Maybe they've got they're going to be out in the wind for a long time. And so it would fit in with that too, stylistic wise.
Yep.
Your legs would get very chapped, but I see the use for this.
Oh, I just hate the logistics and the thoughts that are all in my brain right now. I hate them all.
Legitimately can't. This is not a fake thing, though.
Yeah, it's real.
You can purchase this
for $75.
$75 feels like a lot.
Yeah.
But you do get 52 Depend guards with it.
How much are those? I don't know what the cost of those run for.
Last time I bought them, it was like $18 or something maybe for a pack.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you get a coupon. You might be able to get a discount on that.
Okay. So we need to add that, calculate that into the price.
Yeah, so really, it's like you're paying $55 for a nice pair of pleather pants, pleather underwear from Liquid Death. As long as I've been following food blogs, which is a long time, there's one thing that people have been beckoning for years from McDonald's, and now it seems that thing is finally making a return. In 2025, McDonald's has confirmed they will be bringing back the snack wrap. Does this mean anything to you at all?
I have never had a snack wrap. I know we talked earlier this week about me never having a McRib, and I got to try that for the first time. So I'm not one of these people that was begging McDonald's to bring these back. But maybe I will like it. Maybe I would have been.
You're a bit of a one-trick pony at McDonald's. They don't call you the McChicken Queen for nothing. But once you find something you like, why change it up?
It's true.
McDonald's had the snack wrap, which launched in 2006, featuring simply chicken, lettuce, and cheese in a warm tortilla. It was on the menu there until 2013, it looks like. I'm sorry. They also had an Angus version, which would be beef. They dropped that in 2013. The original snack wrap with the chicken was removed in 2016. Now, so that's what? Almost, we're talking 8 years people have been waiting, almost a decade. And now, it sounds so simple, but for some reason people have wanted this for so long and now it's coming back.
Yeah, the fact that it's just like 3 ingredients or whatever, like that's seems delicious. But maybe it was. I haven't tried it. The
president of McDonald's, Joe Erlinger, says that it will be back in 2025. The quote is, "This has been a cult following. I get so many emails into my inbox about this product. It will be back in 2025.
He's stop asking me about it.
What are these people that are emailing the president of McDonald's saying, bring back the chicken, cheese, and lettuce in a tortilla?
Bring back the snack wrap.
Yes, please, McDonald's. Please, I need this. I'm not even saying it's not good. It might be good, but let it go.
People are just protesting out of McDonald's. This is not fair. Yeah. We want the snack wrap in there.
And finally, their calls have been answered. I guess it does teach a valuable lesson. If you're annoying long enough, people will eventually get... Did you ever do this to your parents when you were a child? I want chocolate milk. I want chocolate milk. I want chocolate milk.
You wear them down.
Eventually, you keep asking, and the parents, they just want you to shut up. And so they're like, fine, you can have chocolate milk. That's what the president of McDonald's is saying to all you annoying people. 8 years. And he's finally giving you the snack wrap.
He's like, stop emailing me.
Yeah.
He'll just get an email about whatever else they discontinue.
Yeah, that is, you're right. People are just going to move on.
It's just going to be whatever else it is.
We can't appreciate what we have.
Nope.
We'll just shift our focus to how they don't have the CBO anymore, because I really like that.
Yeah.
But you know what I haven't been doing is emailing the president of McDonald's saying, bring back the CBO.
Good for you.
I think that says a lot about me. I really do. By the way, McDonald's recently brought back the McRib.
Yep.
And we tried it here on the show. You can find out what we thought. It's posted in a food fight on our YouTube channel. You can find that in the RadioU app and at RadioU.com. We got a space update. Although if you're a real space nerd, it's not necessarily a happy update.
Yeah.
Because NASA announced in a briefing yesterday that they are delaying their missions to the moon, Artemis 2 and 3, now being pushed back once again. This isn't the first time they've been delayed, is it?
No.
What we really care about, even to the average person, is this means that it will be even longer until another human, at least from the United States, steps foot on the moon.
Yeah, no surprise here with Orion, the mission that they did in 2022. There was some not catastrophic failures or anything like that, but there were some unexpected results, especially with the heat shield. So I guess they are just wanting to be as cautious as possible, which makes sense when you've got humans on board. So they don't want to take any chances. But yeah, there's really no surprise when you see these type of delays. Also, I feel like, when we first made it to the moon as mankind many, many years ago, if there was no race, we probably would have not made it. It just feels like the human competitive spirit is what fueled us to go to the moon.
So what you're saying is we really need to, if we want to see people on the moon again, we really need to encourage another country to get on it.
We got to gamify this.
Yeah. So come on, India. I know you've been sending stuff up. China, Japan, Russia.
Yep.
They've all been around. And so maybe can you work a little harder, please, to motivate us to actually get there? You mentioned the first time we went to the moon, though. And I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Does the fact that we're delaying our mission to go back and put people back on the moon again, does that make it easier to believe the conspiracy that we never put anybody there in the first place, or actually harder? Because here's my two ways of thinking about it.
Okay.
This proves that we must have put somebody on the moon and it wasn't fake. Because if we were going to fake it, why it would be so easy to fake it again now? Why wouldn't we just fake it again?
Right.
Or if it was if we could put people on the moon in the 60s,
why can't we do it now?
How can we not do it again 60 years later when we have so much better technology?
And this is what people have argued, and I do get that argument of like what's happening? Why so much regression in space travel from what we did in the 60s when our technology has only gotten better and better at a rate that's unmatched in all of humankind. There's never been a rate of how technology has advanced in this amount of time. So I get that. That definitely is a little like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
But I think the difference is like we're very cautious when it comes to traveling in space. But I would point to, as an evidence that it is true, we are still sending people to space. We're just not sending them to the moon. Now you have to know this, like the travel to the moon is a very specific time when you can do it, when it all lines up perfectly. So that type of thing sometimes gets in the way of these when they have to schedule them.
The specific time was the 60s and we can't do it anymore. That's a good excuse that you and NASA have come up with.
It wasn't just the 60s. They were doing trips to the moon for many, many Apollo missions. So that was more than just the one trip with Neil Armstrong. Like they did them for many years after that. But I think, they're still sending people obviously to the International Space Station and all of that. So space travel is still happening. But if there is an argument where it's like, it's a little fishy, maybe the regression one is probably the best, but I still think that the whole idea that it was fake is pretty preposterous.
It's
preposterous in my mind.
It's kooky, but I understand why people believe it because we can't seem to
get back.
Can't seem to do it again. And all the money we're spending, don't get me started. I don't want to think about this when I have to do my taxes in a month.
It's just so funny when you start complaining about the money that NASA spends. I just feel like you turn into a grandpa.
I know. And all the other stuff
you're spending all my money.
We spend our tax dollars on, and I really don't care. It's just that NASA is the one NASA's the only one in the news.
Yeah.
NASA's the only one like, hey, we're spending your money on nothing. How do we feel about this? Uber is expanding their Christmas options for some certain customers. If you live in the right city, you could now either order a group of carolers to your door through Uber for $60, right? $60,
yeah,
a flat $60.
Flat rate is $60, but you do have to purchase an alcoholic beverage to get this.
Because that's the only thing that could make carolers tolerable.
Apparently.
Or you could do this, and I like that this article points this out, to torment people you don't like.
Send this to your neighbors.
Yeah, they're like, deal with this. They're going to come sing Give Us the Figgy Pudding or whatever that song is, and you're going to have to sit there and pretend like you like it. And it's only going to cost me $60 and a drink.
Right.
This starts tomorrow, December 7th. If you happen to live in New York City, Los Angeles, Dallas, Miami, or Washington, D.C., you can order a group of Christmas carolers for some reason through Uber.
Yeah, this is crazy. All I want to know is like the logistics of how this all is working out.
Yeah.
Like how many groups of singers do they have? How are they coordinated? How are they on call? People have different schedules.
Yeah.
How is this working?
They must just have they've got these carolers on standby in each city.
Yeah.
I wonder if they literally pay them to just be available. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Uber's just paying them and that's why they can only do it in a few cities. We'll pay you to make sure your schedule is clear so that at the drop of a hat,
you can come sing.
Yeah, so we need somebody to sing. You can go do it.
Or I wonder, because, any of the delivery apps give you like a timeline of how long it'll take for this to happen.
Yeah.
I wonder if for this specific thing, since it's something where it's like you're not ordering food, you're ordering this beverage, and then you get the carolers with it with the $60 flat rate fee, they give you like, this will take this amount of time to get this all coordinated, like 2 hours or something. So it's not as quick as like a food delivery.
I can't imagine that it is either way, right? Because
Right.
With a food delivery too, I mean, you got to wait on the restaurant, but then once the person... Also, is there like a delivery driver that's not a caroler that has to
driving
like
the carolers
wrangle
around?
them? Yeah.
Maybe. Or they all show up in different cars? How's this working?
Do they all arrive separately? It's like, all right, we'll start singing. Just got to wait for Jeremy to get here. As soon as he arrives.
They all just converge, all of them singing together.
If they get that sounds like such a nightmare too. Like one at a time, like one person shows up, they just start singing. Eventually some other person emerges, they add, oh man, that sounds so horrible. If they get a lot of orders, do the carolers start singing like the sped up version?
Oh yeah. It's
So
like, we gotta fast forward this.
We got to get to the next house.
Singing scat. Let's go.
Have you ever been caroling?
I have not been like caroling in front of people's homes.
Yeah.
But I used to be in a choir in college and we would sing Christmas carols. I love Christmas carols so much. I know all the classics by heart. So I personally love to go and sing them. But I have never actually gone to carol in front
door to door.
of someone's home.
Yeah, that sounds actually Mrs. Hudson suggested that this year. I was like, absolutely not.
I think it'd be fun.
I said, you've never been caroling before because I have, and it sucks.
You don't like it?
It's not fun. It's awkward. It's 2024. People are not going to answer their doors in the first place. So you're just going to be knocking on doors.
They're definitely not answering if someone's singing outside.
Yeah, and I don't want to stand there awkwardly either. I don't like, I know a lot of people are into pentatonics. That is the worst kind of music to me. The worst. So standing here and watching no instruments and you sing and you're not even as good as pentatonics, I don't want to hear that. So
you know what we talked about earlier this week with the Canadian police officer that was like, if someone knocks at your door, you got to show them that you're there so that they leave you alone.
Yeah.
But what he didn't add in was the whole caroler part of it. So what if someone knocks at your door and they start singing? What do you do then?
And you're outnumbered.
Yeah.
So what is good signaling to them that you're here?
Hi.
I'm busy. I would love to shoo away carolers. That would give me so much joy. That's what would bring me Christmas joy.
So you need a sign on your door that says no soliciting and no caroling.
I would rather be solicited than caroled to. 100%. Get your popcorn ready. It's our weekend tradition here on the Hudson Show. We bring you the weekend watch list, letting you know which movies are new in theaters and at home you could be watching this weekend. We're at that time of year where until Christmas Day, everything is either Christmas or horror movies for some reason. Kind of.
Yeah.
Which brings me to our first new release of the weekend in theaters, Y2K. On the last night of 1999, two high school juniors crash a New Year's Eve party only to find themselves fighting for their lives when Y2K becomes a reality. 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics do not love it. It's a horror comedy.
Okay.
Brian Tellerico of RadioU.com says Mooney, that's Kyle Mooney, used to be in SNL. He's the director and writer with Winter. That's somebody, Winter, who also is a writer, wrote this movie. Run out of ideas like an SNL sketch that goes on for just too long. We've all seen those.
Yeah, even watching the trailer for this, I felt like it was very much so just like they came up with the concept and didn't really know how to deliver. And that was just from the trailer.
Yeah. They did. Interesting cast, though. Besides Jada Martell and Rachel Ziegler, who are the stars, Julian Dennison, who is the kid in Deadpool 2, right? I think.
That sounds right.
The Kid Leroy, Fred Durst, Alicia Silverstone, and Tim Heidecker all in this movie.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on from that. It doesn't sound good. How about The Return? Who doesn't want to see this? After 20 years away, Odysseus washes up on the shores of Ithaca, haggard and unrecognizable. The king finds much has changed since he left to fight in the Trojan War. His beloved wife, Penelope, is a prisoner in her own home and hounded to choose a new husband. Their son faces death at the hands of suitors. This is a long.
Wow,
who see
yeah.
him I guess it is the Odyssey. Who see him as an obstacle in their pursuit of Penelope and the kingdom. Odysseus is no longer the mighty warrior as people remember, but he must face his past to save his family.
How long is this film?
Oh, man, I should have got a runtime. Just actually, it's less than 2 hours.
Really?
Believe it or not.
With that synopsis?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like it's going to be
Based off of the Odyssey. 79% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
The critics are somewhat in favor of this.
Not terrible.
Elijah Gonzalez of AV Club says, while the return only partially succeeds at reframing Homer through the lens of anti-war cinema, some excellent performances ensure it doesn't get lost as its central hero.
good. Okay.
Starring Ray Fiennes and Juliette Binoche. Finally, I've got one more option for you. New on streaming this weekend on Netflix, Mary. In this timeless coming-of-age story, Mary is shunned following an otherworldly conception. That's a weird way to put it.
Yeah.
Making it sound like Jesus is an alien. Forced to flee when Herod's insatiable thirst for power ignites a murderous pursuit of the newborn.
Yeah, so you go ahead. You share the details.
Well, it stars Anthony Hopkins as Herod, is the big name in it. And I don't have a Rotten Tomatoes score, but I do have Isabella Suarez of Collider, who says, with an underbaked script by Timothy Michael Hayes and several add-ons to the biblical narrative that harm more than elevate the plot, the cast doesn't get the opportunity to impress or show an inspiring new take on Mary's trajectory. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I would agree with that take from just watching the trailer as a person that loves, obviously, the biblical story of, the birth of Jesus. For some reason or another, it looks like in this film, Mary is in Jerusalem.
Okay.
Because she's, or Bethlehem maybe is the better way to put it. But anyways, she's somehow connected to Herod. Like there's like weird scenes where it looks like Herod and her are in the same room at some points. And I'm just like, what is going on with this story? So it just seems like it's an entirely a new version of the actual story.
If you want to take liberties with a story that's been told over and over and over again for 2,000 years, maybe. I mean, sure, if it makes it better, but or more interesting, or just fits for a movie, but it doesn't sound like this does. So,
well, a big part of the plot is the fact that they have to go from Nazareth to Bethlehem.
That's part of the travel.
That's a big part of the plot.
Make it a buddy comedy on the road.
With Herod?
Yeah, no, like Mary and Joseph. Of course. Joseph can be Zach Galifianakis. Mary can be... I think I've got a better idea for a movie than whatever
That sounds like an interesting one.
Anyways, I think that what we found here is the answer is probably just watching old Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Put on Home Alone. Put on Christmas Vacation. Let us know what you watch at 8772 RadioU. That's your weekend watch list. We'll see you at the movies. Allie has some big news.
I do.
Go ahead.
So I've shared a little bit about this on the air that I was preparing to get a cat soon. And I actually filled out the application for an adoption yesterday.
Oh, man.
And I will be getting a kitten tonight.
Is it it's a kitten, so it's not like a rescue or whatever? Or
it is at a shelter. And so it'll be like a rescue cat. And the cat that I think we'll be choosing will probably be between 3 to 4 months old. But I'm actually taking my little cousin with me, Lorena, because she loves cats. And her dad is allergic to cats, so they can't have them. So she's going to actually help me pick out the cat. So I don't know which one I'm getting, but I'm likely going to get one of the younger ones that they currently have at this animal shelter. So I'm really, really excited.
So now we run into the issue where we need to open up the Hudson hotline.
8772 RadioU.
Because your cousin's going to help you pick out the cat.
Yeah.
But we need the RadioU crew to help decide what this cat's name is going to be.
Yeah. I also shared on the air about how I was thinking of naming, if it was a female cat, Havana, after the Knox Hamilton song.
Yeah.
So yesterday my parents come over for dinner. And I'm telling them, hey, I'm getting the cat tomorrow. And these are the cat names I've chosen. Orion for a boy, Havana for a girl. My dad throws a fit. I'm not joking. He is not happy. He's like, Havana? No, that's a horrible name. You can't name her Havana. I was like, Dad, it's not Havana, Cuba. It's Havana after the song by Knox Hamilton, which is a really good song. And he's like, absolutely not. You need to pick a better name. He did come up with a good idea, though.
Okay.
And I feel like for those of you that might text in with some ideas, this gives you an idea of what I was thinking too. I think it'd be fun to name the cat a Christmas themed name, since it's going to be like a Christmas cat.
Yeah.
You know, like a early little Christmas present to myself. So if you have any Christmas themed cat names, please send them in 8772 RadioU. I'd love to hear your suggestions.
All right. We got to get the people on this. A brainstorming session. As somebody who's had to write a lot of Christmas stuff, you know, for the station here, trying to just type in Christmas buzzwords online, it's not as fruitful as I think the creativity of all of the individuals here that enjoy Radio U and enjoy cats might be able to come up with.
Exactly.
So, I think we need some help here. 8772 Radio U. What's a Christmas themed cat? Is it going to be a girl?
There's boys and there's girls available. So again, Lorena is picking. She's the one who's picking the cat. I'm gonna take her to the shelter. She gets the final say. So I don't know if it's a boy or girl yet.
All right. 8772 Radio U. Christmas themed cat names for Allie's new cat that she's getting tonight. I do have a question too for you about that coming up.
Okay.
People have a lot of ideas.
I'm so excited.
I've never seen so many texts come in so quickly, I feel.
It's like Battle of the Buzz.
Yeah, but except there's so many different choices. Jared says, this is an obvious one, Noel.
Yeah, that's a great one.
He says for a girl, but you could name a boy Noel too.
Yeah.
That'd be very French.
Yeah, very French.
That's not a bad idea. Although if you've seen Noel, the Christmas movie on Disney Plus with Anna Kendrick, not a fan.
Haven't seen it.
That just was, that's what makes me think of it. I don't like it. Let's see. Susanna, Rocky, I'll get back to you because I agree. Stacy says, my sister's cat's name was Christmas before she passed away last year. We usually just called her Chrissy. And then we would jokingly, I like this because you can do this with a cat, change her name to make my sister mad. We'd call her Sally around Halloween from Nightmare Before Christmas. She also says congrats.
Thank you.
You would be very confusing to a dog if you tried to change its name or like called it by a different name. Cats, whatever. Amanda says Jack like Jack Frost.
Okay, I like that.
Holly, Noel, Peppermint, or Buddy.
Oh, like Buddy the Elf?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Actually, who else sent this in? It went away. Somebody said Jovi and Buddy. Jovi for a girl, Buddy if it's a boy.
Oh, that's so cute.
I know. And which makes me think, nobody said this yet, so this is my idea. Your favorite Christmas movie is A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
What if you named it Fragile? That's really creative.
That is creative. I definitely thought you were going to go with like Ralphie or something.
Yeah, well, sure. But no, I think Fragile would be funny.
That would be funny.
It was Laura who said Jovi or Buddy, and then she also says her daughter suggested Snowflake.
Oh, that's cute.
Classic cat name.
Yes.
Brian says Krampus von Heatmiser. Or Krampus. Because it's a cat.
Oh.
Jason says Tinsel, Bella.
I like Tinsel.
Catty McCatster.
Yeah.
Cousin Lorena says Snowball if it's white.
Snowball if it's white. Well, Lorena, you get to pick.
Cousin Christy says Noel, Blizzard, or any of Santa's reindeer names.
Yeah, I like the reindeer idea, and also Blizzard is a cool name.
On that note, William says Rudolph.
Yep.
Mickey said Ralphie before I said anything about A Christmas Story. And then finally, we have Regina who says, what if you look up some Hebrew words related to Christmas or the birth of Jesus? I don't know many, but we named our cat what appears to be cheesed, which means unconditional love in Hebrew. She says it's pronounced Hesed.
Oh, yeah, Hesed. Yeah, Hesed. It's Hesed love. Yep.
Yeah, it's spelled cheesed.
I took Hebrew in college.
You can you can name a cat or a dog whatever you want. Like you don't have to worry with a child. You wouldn't want to name it something where it's like hard to spell like that?
Yeah.
With a dog, who cares? With a cat, who cares?
No, come
Nobody's
on.
going to be spelling it, really. It would be hard to look up on Instagram if you make an Instagram account for it.
I might have to.
Bree says gingerbread or ginger
or just
for sure.
Ginger, that's cute. I like that.
And then Susanna and Rocky both raised a point that I also, this is what I was going to ask is, can you actually name it until before you even meet it?
Well, obviously, I can't name the cat before I meet it, but I do want some suggestions because I thought the Christmas idea was really cute.
Yeah.
But the only thing I could think of off the top of my head was Noelle that I liked, and many people did suggest Noelle, so that might end up being the cat's name. But don't know if it's going to be a girl. Don't really like Noelle for a boy cat. I think one of the fun names would be like Blizzard or something like that. So there are a lot of great suggestions. So we're going to have to take some screenshots of all of the texts that came in today so that we can pick one.
I do think it would confuse people if you named a boy cat Noelle. So,
yeah.
But for Gile, that wouldn't be confusing to anybody at all. That would be very clear what gender
I think my dad might veto that one too.
Animal you're talking about. We have with us here a guy that I've listened to for a long time, discovered here thanks to RadioU several years ago when he was with Graceful Closure. Now he's got a brand new song out called Can You Hear Me? Jared Mark, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? How are we doing?
Good.
We're awesome, Jared. It's good to see you again.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yes.
It's an honor.
Yeah, it's an honor to talk to you. Jared, we've spoken a few times in the past, and as long as I've known you, there's one thing that I know to be true about you, and that is you are a coffee aficionado.
This is true.
Now
it is still that way, man.
Now, you don't know this because Allie is brand new here. Allie doesn't drink coffee. Now, it's none of my business if she likes coffee or not. But from a coffee aficionado like yourself, if we were trying to convince Allie to drink coffee, how would you go about it?
Man. Okay. So Allie, you don't like coffee at all, or you like kind of like it, or like you just never really drink it because you don't care. You like the smell, hate the taste.
You didn't know this, but you're being interviewed.
No.
Jared Mark is co-hosting the rest of the show.
I got to put together a plan.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
right.
you got to put together a proper plan,
you got to diagnose, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't like the flavor of most coffee, but I will say, like, I haven't tried a lot of like the coffees that have like things added in to make them like taste super sugary or whatever. So I'm
Do you
not
like
too
sugary things.
I mean, I do drink like some sugary drinks.
She
for
drinks
sure.
Coke all the time.
I do drink Coca-Cola sometimes, but
okay,
so.
here's your plan. Here's your health plan. You start with a drink that doesn't really have coffee in it. So like a Frappuccino from Starbucks that's like
I've had
Frappuccinos at Starbucks. Yeah, they use like coffee powder or whatever. You go there and then you ask them to throw like a shot of espresso in it after you've done that a couple times. And then it's like you barely taste it, but it's kind of in there. And then it's like, oh, I want 2 shots in that now. And then you're like, hey, can I have like less flavoring? And then you move to like a honey latte or something. And then eventually you get the honey out and now it's just milk and espresso. And then you try a really good pour over, natural process or anaerobic process. My coffee nerds know exactly what I'm talking about. And then there's like all these fruit elements that start to pop in the coffee, and it's just black at that point. And that's how you become a coffee addict.
All right. Really, I have the roadmap now.
Today is the first day of the rest of your life as a coffee drinker.
But I have 3 kids now, and I will say, like, great coffee, like, as much as I value it, I've pulled out the Keurig a few times lately.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, it's just kind of like, well, life is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
listen, we wake up at like 4 a.m, so you don't have time to be picky about coffee that early.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I'm flexible these days.
Well, I'm going to switch the conversation from coffee to music. And one of my favorite questions to ask the artist, Jared, is I love to ask people, because I know the thing that I'm interested in is the music that you love. So I want to know if you could have written any song that exists, what would it be and why?
Oh, shoot, that's tough. Okay, this might become like a surprise to you. Well, two things. There are two bands specifically that I actually don't really make music that sounds like them, but so I'm a producer. I'm an artist, but like I find myself in the producer role a lot these days, and mixing songs and like creating the production. And so my mind is like very focused on like sounds. I'm like really fascinated by sounds. And so two artists, and we can pull out specific songs from these two artists, but they specifically like kind of like made my brain just, when I first heard it, was the Viva La Vida record by Coldplay. When I heard the orchestrations of that, the guitar tones of that, just like this sounds really nerdy, but like the depth of the mixes, I was just like, holy cow. And it's kind of crazy, but like Michael Brower mixed that record, and he's like a legend mixing engineer. And I reached out to him in the Graceful Closure days, and I just asked if I could hop on the phone and pick his brain, and he said yes.
Wow.
And I hopped on the phone with him, and we talked through like mixing techniques and stuff. And like I was nobody, and bro just took the time to like talk to me. He did like John Mayer stuff. Like he's mixed tons of great records, and he just talked to me, and it was really cool. And we just talked about like compressors and a bunch of nerdy stuff. And so that record means a lot. And just honestly, that song in general is really cool. Lovers in Japan is like really cool sonically too. And then the band, not near as popular, but Copeland.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with Copeland.
Yeah, we played some Copeland here before.
Yeah, dude. So like those songs, man, like something about his voice and the way he layers his voice is incredible. And so the album, I guess it's not a song, but the album You Are My Sunshine, dude, like I put that thing on and it just takes me to a place. And there's something about that record that will just always be a favorite for me, like sonically, like how mellow it is. It's a favorite, but I could also fall asleep to it, if that makes sense. Like I just put it on it and I'm just like gone, But yeah, I don't know if that helps answer your question, but I would have been really glad to be in the room on any of those sessions for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear. But enough about other artists. Let's talk about you, Jared. You just put out a new song called Can You Hear Me? We are adding it to RadioU today. And what I want to know is like, give me the story of the song. What should people know if they haven't heard the song yet? What should they know going into it?
Oh, man. Can You Hear Me is actually like one of the most intimate things I've ever created. You might not even get it by listening to it. I mean, I think you can hear like the desperation in the song, at least I hope. But a little backstory, Hudson, because it's been a while since you and I have talked. But so as Graceful Closure was ending and I started moving into like Jared Mark as a solo thing, during that time, I had 3 Great Danes. Crazy. I don't recommend having 3 extra large breed dogs all at the same time. But I was walking them one day and this little sweet girl, like I didn't have kids at the time, this little girl comes out and she sees the dog. She's really excited. She starts running towards them and screaming and like in excitement, My dogs freak out and start running towards her. And like, that's scary because they've never met kids before. And I'm like, oh, great, I'm about to kill a child. Like, from this. Like, this is tough, And so, like, I grabbed them and they just drug me. And thankfully, they just got all the way up to her face. And they were like, and like, everything was good except my body. Like, it was rough, man. So, like, I got up and, like, my finger right here, it's still pretty jacked up, but it was huge. And like, I had one of those like wedding rings that you can't really cut off. And so like, I had to like rip it off before my finger got any bigger. And it was a wild thing. And it led me, like my elbows got huge and a year went by and like, I was still huge. Like all my joints were still majorly swollen. And I started going to doctors and trying to figure out what's going on. No one could figure out what was going on. And, we had gotten pregnant during this time. We had a miscarriage and lost our first baby, which was pretty dramatic. Like, it was not super fun to say the least. And to take it like a step worse, like our best friends had gotten pregnant during that time too. And then they announced their due date and it was the same due date of the baby we lost. No. So it was like God, what is going on? Like that's kind of weird. And so we're like celebrating our friends, but they knew we lost the baby, but they didn't know the due date. And so it was like a pretty serious time. And I'm not trying to bring light to it. I'm just trying to explain the song. But like, it was kind of a time where like my body was so jacked up. It got to the point where I physically couldn't walk. So like my body was so locked up. My wife would pull me out of bed. I went through like 3 months where I would sleep sitting straight up, because if I laid down and my body locked in the middle of the night, I actually couldn't like bend upwards to get out of bed. And obviously I'm a grown man, so it's not like super easy for your wife just to pull you out of bed and be like, all right, get up, bud, let's go to work, that kind of thing. And so it just was wild. And finally, like, it got so, honestly, the times got so low where I remember telling my wife, like, I just had such a perspective on like addicts and people who don't want to live. Like, and I was never like that person, but I just told her, I was like, man, if someone offered me something on the street to get rid of my pain, I think I would take it. And I think I understand how people get to such a low place. And thank God that did not happen to me. And in that moment, I freaked her out to the point to where she's in the medical field and she went to everyone she knew. And she finally found me a doctor, and they ended up, it was kind of weird because it didn't show up in my blood, but they're like, you have arthritis and you have it from your neck to your toes. And so they got me on a shot, and I still take it to this day every other week. And it basically like tells my body what it's supposed to be doing because it's naturally not doing that. And it's called like a biological. And that sent me through like this spiral, because like I was sitting in this doctor office with a bunch of people that are like 80 years old. And I'm like, at the time I'm like 29 or something like that. And I'm just sitting there like, man, like, God, like this does not seem like it's supposed to be my life. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening right now? What's my future look like? Like, I know side effects are cancer and things like that. So like my mind's just going to bad places automatically. And so it just went through this like time of like low lows, if that makes sense. And I stopped really writing music for me in that season. And I went into writing songs that I kind of call like facade songs, like, and I have them out, but they're like feel good songs, fun songs. And that's not how I felt at all. It was like this, like how I wanted to feel basically. Yeah. But it wasn't how I felt. And so I just kind of ignored anything personal. Like I didn't want to talk about it, to be honest, because I didn't know how. Like, it just felt too real. And so I finally started feeling better. I finally was able to like start walking and get back to normal life things. And we ended up having our first baby, which was awesome. And we now have 3, and our house is crazy, and everything started like getting really good. And I got like, I've had some really cool like music opportunities that have come over the few years. And it just reached a point to where I was like, man, like my cognitively, like I was still so discouraged by like what my new life is like having to like take medicine, like constantly feeling this chronic pain. And it just takes the edge off and things like that. And finally, and I know there's a lot of taboo on the subject, but finally I started going to a counselor because I was like, like I've got 3 beautiful kids and they need a good, healthy dad. And so I'm going to go take care of myself so I can be everything they need me to be. And so I started seeing a counselor, and thankfully like was brought to just a great company, like person. And they just started helping me just dive into a lot of this. And I've been in it for a few months now. And I finally felt like I was like, you know what, I really need to start talking about some of this stuff that I've gone through. And in that moment, Can You Hear Me is like a cry out. Like, it's definitely not like the healed song. Like, it's not, there's no full healing yet. There's a part in the bridge where you see a glimpse of hope. And that's how I felt in that season. Like I'm a lot further down the road of healing now. And I have more songs that are coming that will kind of explain where I am now. But Can You Hear Me is like this was the start of the journey. It's like, hey, like, Lord, can you hear me? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm down here going through something and I'm like trying to process what this is that I'm going through. And so it's really just like a desperate cry, in that moment, in that season. And it was hard to release. I actually finished that song like a few months ago and mixed, mastered, done. And it just sat on my hard drive. And I don't know why it was so hard to release, but it was like, I feel like the moment I release this, I have to start talking about all this publicly. Like we hadn't even talked about like the miscarriage really publicly. Like I hadn't talked about like a lot of the health stuff publicly. Very minimal like conversation have taken place about all that. Like I just kind of like internalized it and close friends and family knew. But like, I think that was why it was so hard. It was like, if I release a song, I got to talk about it. And I finally just got to the place where I was like, no, I think I need to talk about it because I think other people need this healing too. And so it just kind of came to a point where it's like, I need it. My family needs it. And I think others might need it. And so I was like, I need to get over my insecurities and I just need to release the song. And so that's kind of what came about. And I'm proud of it. I think it's kind of cool. It's a little moody for me, but I'm glad I did it and I'm glad it's out.
No, yeah, so. That is, as you told the story, that's what I was thinking. I was like, there's got to be somebody right now that's like gone through similar things and hearing this song and everything, it's going to be very hopeful to them. So I appreciate you sharing all that with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Beast. Is he the most popular YouTuber in the world?
I believe so.
He's up there. He was on a podcast earlier this week, Theo Von, a competitor of ours. We're going to take him down. We're going to catch him. And Mr. Beast reiterated in this podcast his intention. He said this before, but he made it very clear again. He wants to run for president one day. Now, he can't. I don't think he's old enough now to even do it if he wanted to today.
Yeah, no, I think he's 26.
Yeah, much too young. And I've said this before about other because I think one of the Paul brothers also said, I want to run when I'm old enough.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that.
And I think this about Mr. Beast too. I'm glad you're waiting till you're old enough. You respect the Constitution. I think that's a good sign. I'm glad
there's an age limit.
Yeah. But Mr. Beast said this week, he said, it would probably be when I'm like 50 or 60. So he's not even going to run as soon as he's old enough, 35. Yeah. But I would need to accomplish everything I want in business and stuff. Then probably take 10 years and do something at the local level, then state level, and work my way up. We'll see.
Interesting. That's a very practical way of how politics usually work. You know, you start locally. Maybe you're going to be like a local commissioner or something. And then you end up being a state rep. And then you end up running for Congress. Yeah. And then you run for president. So
almost all presidents.
Yeah.
Almost all went that route.
Right. Almost all. There are obviously a few that didn't. Some are generals. Some are businessmen. But yeah, no, I think obviously that makes sense that he would be saying he would go through that route. But I do think it's interesting that he says he has to wait until he accomplishes everything he wants for his business and stuff. Because it seems like that's always changing for him. Like he's always doing new things. So I would think his goals are always changing.
He's got... Yeah, I mean, for any of us too. You ask, would you like to do this 20 years from now? And the answer could be yes or no, but a lot changes in 20 years. Right.
And what do you mean by you need to accomplish these things? Because it seems like you're accomplishing a lot. So what's on your list that you haven't accomplished yet?
Yeah, seriously. Restaurants, Lunchables, like obviously the big giant YouTube channel, game shows. Like what else? I'm sure he has other things I can't even think of. So what else does he need to do? But I don't know. I guess he's got to fill the 20 years, 15, 20 years between now and then.
Yeah.
I was glad to say, though, because my first thought was, okay, Mr. Beast, yes, you're very popular on YouTube, but what exactly qualifies you to be president? Like totally different things. But he said in his quote, I would want to do something at the local level, state level, and work my way up. So
gain some, understanding through that process.
Figure out what like politics, how that actually works before he just goes straight to president. Actually, I like that. Yeah. Doesn't mean I would vote for him. I mean, who knows? 20 years from now.
Who knows what we're doing?
May or may not. What's going to be going on?
We could be like Doc in Back to the Future. It's like when Marty tells him Ronald Reagan is president, and he's like, the actor?
Yeah, right. Exactly. People. That's so true, though. 20 years from now, Mr. Beast may very well likely won't be known as the YouTuber.
Yeah.
Who knows if YouTube will even be around then?
Right.
It'll be something completely different. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, a lot can change between now and then, but it sounds like he's serious about it. because he keeps mentioning it.
He keeps talking about it. I will say, I feel like his kind of almost final line, I think we can all get behind this. He says, if I were president, I wouldn't care about party lines. I'd just always truly make the American people my number one priority. Mm-hmm. That seems like a pretty diplomatic approach.
That's a presidential thing to say.
Yep.
That said, I feel like every president has said that. Says it. Whether it's true or not. That's just what you say when you run.
He's already practicing.
Yeah, that's right. Remember a few weeks back when we all watched Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix? Mm-hmm. And for many reasons why so many were disappointed. Yeah. I have a guy here from Saudi Arabia that's trying to turn that frown upside down. He has to be the only guy in the world that wants a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul rematch.
Yeah.
But he really wants it. This guy, and he might be able to make it happen. Who knows? His name is Turki Al-Ashik. He's the head of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority. He is offering Mike Tyson $700 million if he can knock Jake Paul out in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes?
Maximum time, 3 minutes, which is basically one round normally of boxing, right?
Yeah.
If they fight again and Mike Tyson can knock him out in the first 3 minutes, $700 million.
And what happens if he doesn't, but if he knocks him out, but it's in like 3.5 minutes or something? No money?
I don't know. Definitely not $700 million. I mean, you have to give something, right?
Right.
And also, what about Jake Paul? Where does he come into this? How much money does he get? But the quote from this guy is, Jake Paul is a joke. I am giving Mike Tyson $700 million if he agrees to fight Jake Paul this time in a real fight and wins by KO in a maximum of 3 minutes. So you think the first fight was staged?
Yeah, okay.
He might be right.
I have heard that and heard that argument, but I do think, is he wanting him to do the 3 minutes, or is he predicting it would be a 3 minute KO? I
don't think it's I guess it's a prediction of, I'm so sure that Mike Tyson could do this that I'm offering him this money to do it.
Okay.
but it's a legit offer, I think. I
Interesting.
Believe. But yet again, there's a lot of other things that would have to go into play to actually make this happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't either, but I also just think it's hilarious because we always see weird things like this coming out of Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. Just feels like they just have an insane amount of money.
It's pretend money. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it feels like that.
It's not real to them.
It feels like that.
They can do whatever they want. Now, the first match was so bad. Mm-hmm. It was so bad. But if Mike Tyson could get $700 million, but only if he knocked out Jake Paul within 3 minutes, how could you not watch that?
How could you not watch it? And also, how could you not agree to at least try?
Yeah.
At least give it a good college try.
I'd give it a shot. I'd give it a shot for much less than that. Right? But I've also not made as much money as Mike Tyson has. Who do you think has, based off of the first fight, who has a better chance of knocking out Jake Paul? Me or Mike Tyson?
Neither.
Yeah, that's probably the right answer. As much as I do think like the first fight was not exactly real.
Yeah, or not exactly what we thought.
Not on the up and up. Not fully on the up and up. I also based off of what we saw, don't know that Mike Tyson really could do this. So.
I don't think he's got it in him from what we saw, even though, the whole like the gloves were overstuffed. They weren't as hard. So his hits weren't as hard, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I still don't think we would get this knockout like this guy is so confident in.
I just really want to say, like, we're not doing the Jake Paul thing again. Like, we all won't be duped. This was the wake up moment for everybody that like these fights, we got to stop being tricked. But man, when they get another big name in there next time,
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, when he's fighting Conor McGregor or something, all of us are gonna,
let's go.
I think he can do it this time. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.